right, you should be able to see me. All right, so I'm going to talk about a planetarium software that you can use on your mobile phone or on your laptop too, as we'll do a demo tonight. So there are a number of planetarium programs out there. I'm just going to talk about a few of them here up front. You'll see a lot more out there, but really what I really want to cover is what's common between them. For these are all free ones you can get. There are other ones you can pay. So we're going to talk about the free ones and what you can get for that. So some of these are Solar Walk Light, Go Sky Watch Planetarium, Skyview Light. You're kind of getting a theme here that there's the word light in some of these. That just means that there is a paid version of this where you get more features out of it. Now, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to walk through the one called Stellarium Web. This is the only PC-based one that I've got on this list. It has all the common features, which is why I want to show you, and it's just easier to show that one via Zoom than it is do something on a phone. So here's some of the key features that these have in common, and then we'll also cover. There's usually some type of quick view of the object, some place you can go and say, hey, what are the common objects that I look at? Usually planets, moons, solar system objects. There's usually a search feature where you can find objects when you just can't find them any other way. There's a way to get detailed information. You either click on the object or you go to some special place. You can zoom in. So if you click on, say, Jupiter, you should be able to zoom in and actually see Jupiter up close, or the Orion Nebula, just something. There's usually a way to look at constellations. So there's usually something to look at, and it'll actually either in stick figures or art form show the constellations up in the sky so you can see how the stars line up. With landscape, there's usually some way to remove the landscape so you can actually see objects that are under the horizon. You generally have the ability to change location. So say I want to see what the sky looks like in London or Hong Kong, you can do that. You can change the date and time. So if I want to see what's going to happen tomorrow or next year, or if I want to see what happened 10 years ago, you have that ability too. There's generally some kind of calendar that says here are events that you might want to take a look at. And then some of them, this doesn't always come with the free ones, but a lot of them have observations. So if you're out and you're making observations and you want to track what you're doing, I looked at Jupiter because of the conjunction that John brought up. You have the ability to track that. And the last one is night mode. And as John mentioned earlier, you want to use a red light. In this case, the night mode turns your screen on your phone or your PC red. So your eyes stay dilated more than they would with white or blue light. So with that, I'm going to actually go into the demo. Let me get this down. Yeah, it didn't go down the way I wanted it to. 1 second here, folks. All right, I may have to share my screen again. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah, right. We can see it fine. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you. All right, so this is Stellarium Web, and this is what we're going to walk through and just kind of look at all these common features that I had brought up before. So right off the bat, was the what's up in the sky tonight. And just over here, there's this planets tonight. If I bring this up, it brings up this nice little box that says, here are all the objects that you can see easily with the naked eye. So the sun, the moon, and the first 5 planets. Gives her time they rise, time they set, and they give a nice pictorial of day and night. And you can see from the yellow line how they cross over. So you can see what's in the sky easily. So this is a great feature. There are also other things you can do in here, and that is you can view the Milky Way or take it away. You can see the Milky Way right here. If I wanted to, I could get rid of that. The DSS is the Digitalized Sky Survey. What that does, it makes the background stars more vivid. They take pictures that they've taken with some of the larger telescopes, like the Palomar Observatory, and they put them in the background. So, and that just removes those. Meridian line is just a line that runs from north to south. So you can track that, or the ecliptic line, as John was mentioning earlier. that is the line that the planets all travel on. So that's the orbit of the sun. So let me quickly get rid of that. And we'll close that out. Okay. And then I said there is a search feature. I'm going to get rid of that over there, give us a little more room. So with the search feature, if you want to look for something, in this case, I'll just look for Mars since it's right there. And what that'll do is it'll bring up anything that starts with those letters. And then when I click on it, it's going to center it and it's going to give me that detailed information. So remember I said earlier, that's another common feature is to get that detailed information. You could do that with anything. So if I clicked on the Pleiades here, it's going to bring up the detailed information for it too. Then you've got your calendar of events. So this is telling me for December 2020, here are all the interesting things happening. We just have a solar eclipse and a new moon. It does not have the conjunction on here. Oh, yep, it does. Saturn passes within a 1/10 of a degree north of Jupiter. So there's a conjunction coming up on the 21st. So nice calendar of events. And then there's also observations. So here's one I made. So I made an observation of Mars with the naked eye, you know, in St. Louis on this particular day. So good features here. You'll find that in most of them. I'm going to get rid of that, give us a little more space here. And then I said there's ways for you to travel around. So here, it shows that I'm doing this from St. Louis. But let's say that I want to do it from someplace else, like Honolulu, and see what the night sky looks like. And it should still be daylight there. You just click on use this location. Now I'm in Hawaii. Sun's still up. Now what's really cool is, if I come over here, I can change my time. So if I want to see what nighttime looks in Hawaii, I can just up the time a couple hours, and all of a sudden the night stars come up. So with that and with this, I'm just going to click this, go back. We'll come back to that in a second. And I'm going to head back over to St. Louis again. It's always good to go home after a trip, right? So going back to the conjunction, if I just go back in time just a little bit here, because I want Jupiter to come up here. So if I click on Jupiter, I told you there is a zoom. In fact, I'm going to, I think that centers it for me. There we go. So I'm going to use my mouse for this, but you could also use this plus and minus here, and you'll see this in the apps on the mobile phones. It'll have a plus and minus, or you pinch your fingers and spread them out to get more. So here we can see we got Saturn up here, we got Jupiter here. Now you can also see that it's kind of drifting off because this is actually tracking real time. I'm going to pause it just so they're there. Now what's really cool with some of these features is you can do your time travel. I'm just going to do it in minutes. And I want Jupiter in the center. Otherwise it's going to drift off here. Let's try that again. So now when I do minutes, Jupiter stays still, but I'm going to slowly see the moons and everything move around Jupiter. So I like playing with that. It is pretty cool. We're going to zoom back to normal. There we go. All right. So coming down to the bottom, I told you there was constellations. So here's the constellation button here, and you can see now we can see all the constellations in stick form. This next one is the art form. And almost every app has both of these, and you can use them together or separate. It is kind of cool, so you can kind of see how the stars line up to the features of these individual constellations. Landscape, I talked to you about that, so you can clearly see the trees and landscape behind, but I can easily remove that. You can kind of see right here, this bright line, so you can look, it's still there, but now I can see Jupiter and Saturn and the moon, everything that's gone, it's already set below the horizon, but now I can clearly see it again. So we'll put the landscape back on. A couple other features, these aren't on a lot of them, but they are cool features here. And this is the Asmato grid. And what this does is it makes a grid that goes to the top of the sky. So here I'm going to zoom in so you can see panoramic view of all the sky, and this goes clear to the top. Then you got another one that's the equatorial grid, and this one's going to go from true north. So if I just kind of go this down here, you can see north. So the little star right here, about half a degree off the true north, that's Polaris, our North Star. So just kind of cool little features I like. This next one is the night mode that I talked about. So you can see it turns everything red. So if you've got your computer or you've got your mobile phone out and it's night, you want to have the red light on, just so it keeps your eyes nice and dilated so you can see dark or deep sky objects easier because you can see better in the dark. But more importantly, if you're out with other people, they will get upset if you start shining bright white lights in their eyes, because it takes about 20 minutes for your eyes to get used to the dark again. And they've lost about 20 minutes of time. They could be seeing some really nice objects. So just be aware of that. And that was really all the features that I was going to cover on this. More than happy if there's any questions on other ones or other questions on apps that we can cover. So Don, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Chuck. That's great. So